There is a kind of pain that doesn't scream, it whispers. It sits with you in the quiet moments, late at night, when the world goes silent and your thoughts grow loud. It's the pain of trying, failing, and wondering if you're broken because things didn't work out the way you hoped. You smile in front of people, but inside, something feels heavy, unfinished, unresolved. And the worst part isn't the pain itself. It's the question it keeps asking you, is this all there is? But listen carefully, because this moment matters more than you realize. Pain doesn't show up to destroy you. It shows up when something inside you is ready to change. Every breakthrough in human history was born in discomfort. Every strong mind was shaped by pressure, the fire you're feeling. Right now is not meant to burn you. It's meant to forge you. You don't grow when life is easy. You grow when the old version of you can no longer survive. That ache in your chest is not weakness, it's resistance breaking. It's your potential demanding attention. And if you stop running from it, if you stop numbing it, if you finally face it head on, this pain can become the most powerful turning point of your life. The question is simple, but it demands courage. Will you let this pain defeat you, or will you let it define you into something greater? Pain feels personal because your brain is wired to make it that way. The mind is a survival machine, and it remembers wounds longer than victories. One harsh rejection can echo louder than 100 compliments. One failure can convince you that you are the failure. This isn't weakness, it's biology. Your mind magnifies pain to protect you, but when you don't understand this, you start believing the lie that something is wrong with you. Here's the truth most people never hear. Pain shows up when you're standing at the edge of growth. If you weren't capable of more, you wouldn't feel this pressure. Comfort doesn't challenge identity. Struggle does. Pain is the friction between who you've been and who you're becoming. That's why it feels so intense. It's reshaping you from the inside out. Every time you feel overwhelmed, it's because your current mindset is too small for the life that's trying to emerge. The discomfort is not proof that you're failing, it's proof that expansion is happening. When you stop taking pain as a personal attack and start seeing it as a process, your power returns. You don't shrink, you don't quit. You rise to meet the pressure, and the moment you do that, pain stops controlling you and starts preparing you for the next level. There comes a moment when pain stops feeling like a curse and starts feeling like a source of strength, not because it vanished, but because it no longer controls you, you realize you've been carrying this weight for so long that your muscles have grown around it. What once crushed you now sharpens you. The fear that used to paralyze you becomes proof of how far you've come. This is the moment pain turns into power. You no longer flinch at challenges. You expect them. You don't break under pressure. You operate best there. Confidence is no longer loud or arrogant, it's quiet, grounded, unshakable. You trust yourself because you've seen what you can survive. Pain teaches endurance, and endurance builds belief. You stop needing validation because your resilience speaks for itself. You stop doubting your path because you've already walked through fire and didn't turn back. This is inner authority, the kind no one can take from you. At this level, obstacles don't scare you, they activate you. You move with purpose, not panic. You take risks with clarity, not desperation. Pain didn't weaken you, it trained you. And now, instead of asking life to be easier, you stand ready for it to be greater. Pain is not a punishment, it's a message you've been ignoring for too long. It shows up when something in your life is misaligned, when you're living on autopilot, settling, shrinking, or betraying what you know deep down is true. Pain interrupts comfort, because comfort keeps you stuck. If everything felt fine, you'd never question the job draining your soul, the relationship draining your energy, or the dream you buried because it felt unrealistic. Pain arrives to wake you up. Think about it. Your biggest changes never came from easy days. They came after the breakdown, the betrayal, the loss, the moment you couldn't pretend anymore. That wasn't life attacking you, that was life demanding honesty. Pain strips away illusions. It forces clarity. It removes what no longer fits the person you're meant to become. The danger is not pain. The danger is numbing it, avoiding it, or running back to what caused it just to feel comfortable again. When pain shows you it's asking for action, not sympathy. It's asking you to choose growth over familiarity. The moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what must change now? Everything shifts. Pain becomes direction. Struggle becomes instruction. And instead of breaking you, this moment begins to build the strongest, truest version of you. Every struggle carries a hidden question. And most people miss it because they're too busy fighting the feeling instead of listening to it. Pain isn't random noise. It's a signal demanding your attention. The moment you ask, why me, you give your power away. That question locks you into victimhood. But the moment you ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Everything changes. That single shift turns suffering into strategy. Life doesn't grow you by giving answers. It grows you by forcing better questions. Inside every setback is a lesson about boundaries, courage, discipline, or truth. Pain exposes what you tolerated, what you avoided, and where you betrayed your own potential. It reveals the gap between the life you're living and the life you're capable of creating. When you sit with that question, without distraction, without excuses, you start to hear clarity. You realize what must end, what must begin, and what must be strengthened. Pain becomes a mirror, not an enemy. It shows you where you need to rise. This is where winners are separated from quitters. Winners extract meaning. Quitters escape the feeling. If you have the courage to leave, this moment will not break you. It will instruct you. And once pain teaches you its lesson, it no longer needs to stay. It transforms into wisdom, direction, and unstoppable forward momentum. Pain only becomes dangerous when it stays unprocessed. You bury it, rush past it, or pretend it didn't matter, it doesn't disappear. It waits. It repeats. The same lesson shows up in a different face. A different failure. A different loss. But the moment you slow down and face it, pain changes its role. It stops being a wound and starts becoming wisdom. This is where real growth begins, not in noise, not in distraction, but in honest reflection. When you write it out, sit with it, or confront it in silence, patterns start to reveal themselves. You see where you ignored your instincts. You say, where fear made decisions for you. You see where you stayed quiet when you should have spoken, or stayed comfortable when you should have moved. That awareness is power. Wisdom is earned, not given, and pain is the tuition. Every scar carries instruction if you're brave enough to read it. The strongest people aren't those who suffered less. They're the ones who learned more. They turned breakdown into blueprints and setbacks into standards. When you extract the lesson, pain loses its grip. It no longer controls your emotions or your future choices. Instead, it sharpens your judgment and strengthens your resolve. This is how you stop repeating the past and start building a future that reflects who you have become, not what you've survived. Pain has a ruthless way of stripping away who you pretend to be. When everything is comfortable, you can hide behind roles, titles, and expectations. But when pain hits, the masks fall. You can't fake strength in the middle of a storm. You can't please everyone when you're barely holding yourself together. And that's exactly the point. Pain removes what's false, so what's real can finally emerge. This is where identity is forged. Not in applause, not in approval, but in moments where you're forced to decide who you are when no one is watching and nothing is guaranteed. Pain exposes the habits, beliefs, and identities that were never truly yours. People-pleasing, fear of rejection, the need for validation. It burns them away because they can't survive the next version of you, who you become. In pain is who you really are. Do you collapse or do you adapt? Do you retreat into excuses or do you rise into responsibility? Purpose begins the moment you stop asking others for permission to be yourself. Pain demands authenticity. It forces alignment. It pushes you to live from truth instead of fear. When you stop resisting this process, you stop feeling lost, because identity built through pain is unshakable, it's earned. And once you know who you are, no setback, no opinion, no obstacle can ever take that away from you. Pain doesn't disappear when you decide to move forward, it transforms. The same fire that once kept you awake at night can become the fuel that drives you out of bed before sunrise. The difference is direction. Undirected pain weighs you down. Directed pain propels you forward. When you give your struggle a target, it stops being an anchor and starts becoming energy. Every high performer, every leader, every winner learned this skill. They didn't wait to feel healed before taking action. They moved while it still hurt. They trained while doubting. They built while being underestimated. Pain became the reminder of why they couldn't afford to quit. Each sigh. Blind action gave pain a purpose. You don't need motivation. You need a system that converts emotion into execution. When anger becomes focus, when heartbreak becomes discipline, when frustration becomes consistency, everything changes. Pain sharpens attention. It eliminates excuses. It forces urgency. The moment you stop asking pain to leave and start asking it to work, your life accelerates. Why? You stop numbing yourself and start using yourself. The struggle becomes a signal to act, not retreat. And one focused step at a time, pain turns into momentum, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger, clearer, and relentless about moving forward no matter how it feels. There is a powerful shift that happens when your pain stops being just your story and starts becoming someone else. Ease Survival Guide. Suffering isolates, but purpose connects. The moment you realize that what you went through can help someone else stand back up, pain takes on meaning far bigger than you. Your scars become proof, not shame. Proof that it's possible to endure, to adapt, to rise. You didn't survive by accident. Every tear, every setback, every lonely night built perspective that can't be taught in books. And when you share that perspective, through words, actions, leadership, or example, you turn your darkest moments into light for others. This is how pain multiplies into impact. Purpose deepens when it serves. Helping someone through what once broke you doesn't weaken you, it completes you. It transforms "why did this happen to me?" into "this happened so I could help." That shift is pow. When you lift others, you rise with them. Confidence grows. Clarity sharpens. Your past stops haunting you and starts guiding you. This is where true fulfillment begins. Not in comfort, not in applause, but in contribution. When your struggle saves someone else from giving up, pain finally knows why it existed. There comes a moment when pain stops feeling like a curse and starts feeling like a source of strength. Not because it vanished, but because it no longer controls you. You realize you've been carrying this weight for so long that your muscles have grown around it. What once crushed you now sharpens you. The fear that used to paralyze you becomes proof of how far you've come. This is the moment pain turns into power. You no longer flinch at challenges. You expect them. You don't break under pressure. You operate best there. Confidence is no longer loud or arrogant. It's quiet, grounded, unshakable. You trust yourself because you've seen what you can survive. Pain teaches endurance, and endurance builds belief. You stop needing validation because your resilience speaks for itself. You stop doubting your path because you've already walked through fire and didn't turn back. This is inner authority, the kind no one can take from you. At this level, obstacles don't scare you, they activate you. You move with purpose, not panic. You take risks with clarity, not desperation. Pain didn't weaken you, it trained you. And now, instead of asking life to be easier, you stand, ready for it to be greater. Now is the moment to understand that your pain only completes its purpose when you act. Surviving is not enough. Thriving is the goal. the lessons you've endured, the struggles that once felt unbearable, all point to one truth: your life was meant to be bigger than your suffering. Every scar, every disappointment, every night spent questioning yourself carries a message, and it demands action. Purpose demands choice. You can choose to stay stuck, letting pain define your story, or you can choose to rise, letting it design your destiny. This is where ordinary people falter and extraordinary people emerge. Those who transform pain into purpose don't wait for clarity, they create it. They don't wait for permission, they act. They don't ask, when will this end? They declare, this ends when I decide to rise. Your pain is temporary, but your response is eternal. One step, one decision, one commitment to move forward changes everything. Stop letting fear or doubt hold you back. Step into the discomfort. Own it and use it. Turn struggle into strategy, scars into strength, and hardship into your fuel. The moment you decide to let purpose rise from pain, you stop surviving and start living at a level that was once unimaginable. Your time is now.